It all started on a quiet Tuesday morning in my rural ranch community. The sun was barely peeking over the hills when I heard the unmistakable sound of metal crunching against wood. Rushing outside, I found my mailbox completely demolished. Tire marks led straight from the street to the debris, an unmistakable signature of reckless driving. What made it worse was the culprits, a group calling themselves the HOA cops. They claimed to enforce community rules, but in reality, they had a reputation for overstepping boundaries, issuing fines for the tiniest infractions, and intimidating residents who didn't fall in line. As I examined the wreckage, they showed up, flashing their so-called authority. "You're going to pay for this damage," one of them barked. I stared, incredulous. "You crashed into my mailbox," I replied calmly. "Why would I pay for that?" Instead of admitting fault, they decided to double down. Within days, I received a lawsuit claiming that I had somehow caused the accident and was liable for the HOA's damages. It sounded absurd, but I wasn't about to be intimidated. Here's where things got interesting. I'm not just any ranch owner. I'm an attorney, and in my 20 years of practicing law, I've learned that overconfidence from so-called authority figures is the easiest trap to exploit. I began preparing my defense. I gathered witness statements, security camera footage, and even the tire tracks leading from their vehicle to the mailbox. Each piece of evidence was meticulously documented, leaving no room for their fabricated story to stand. I drafted a countersuit for negligence, property damage, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. When the day in court arrived, their smugness was palpable. They expected me to flinch, to settle quietly. Instead, I calmly presented the evidence. The footage clearly showed their truck veering off the road, straight into my mailbox. Witnesses testified that they had bragged about enforcing rules aggressively, ignoring the law in the process. By the end of my presentation, the judge was clearly unimpressed with their theatrics. The result? The HOA cops not only lost their case but were ordered to pay for all damages, including attorney fees and court costs. I walked out of the courtroom with my mailbox rebuilt, my reputation intact, and a very clear message delivered. You cannot intimidate someone who knows the law. From that day forward, the HOA treated me with a lot more caution. And every time I glance at my mailbox, now sturdier than ever, I can't help but smile. Justice doesn't just live in courtrooms. It lives in preparation, patience, and the refusal to back down.